You must understand that in the first place I was poised to become a career military. Yeah,
is that right?
yeah. We were expelled and we fled from the Russians, from the Soviet occupation zone in 51, 52. And when I was 19, I had the crazy idea that I should be among those defending the West against the communist threat. This was the height of the Cold War.
Yeah.
We had the Cuba crisis in '62, and I joined the Federal Army as an aspirant to becoming a military officer, and I actually made it to the rank of a captain in the Federal Army. But after a while, when I got a little bit older and hopefully a little bit more mature, I thought, you must study. You absolutely must study, and law came quite naturally to me. So I did my legal studies in Heidelberg and in Lausanne in Switzerland and in France, in Paris at the National French Administration School, and I also had a scholarship in Cambridge. And then I was at the edge of, I was in the Max Planck Institute in Heidelberg, yeah, which is the institute, the mecca of international public law, one of the mecca places, one of the holy places of
Absolutely.
and anyway, I had as my professor, Professor Mosler, who became the first German judge in the International Court of Justice. Yeah, and I told him, what shall I do? I have an inclination to go to the Foreign Office and to become an envoy for Germany, a representative for Germany, or I stay here at the Institute and become one of those many who are trying to get a chair in a university. And this was in The Hague, by the way. This conversation took place in 1974 in The Hague, when he gave the key lecture in the Peace Academy, and I was there as his assistant. And then he thought a little bit about it, and then he came back and said, I see you quite appropriately in the Federal Foreign Office. And when I entered the Foreign Office, I was immediately identified because of my Max Planck past as one of the international lawyers of the Foreign Ministry. And so my first assignment was actually a codification conference which took place in Vienna. Yeah, and but then foreign services have it with it. You are assigned to various different positions, and so I went from Vienna to Oslo. And then I was again, because I was the only qualified lawyer, I was the consul and the press attaché. And then I came back and I became a United Nations specialist, a multilateralist. And from there I went to Israel, and I became the spokesman of the German embassy. And again, I was the backup for the legal officer of the embassy. And at this time we had lots of things to do still in Israel with victims of Nazi crimes and their pensions and their compensation claims. And so I was exposed to this quite regularly. And from there I went to Washington, and then I became the director for Near Eastern Affairs. And then I went to New York, another 4 years in New York. And when I came back in 1996, I had already in my nose that the ICC project was in the pipeline, because I had seen it in New York. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so and when you are the head of the International Public Law Department of the Foreign Service, you are responsible for international courts, you are responsible for ongoing codification processes. So I returned, so to speak, to my roots, and this is how you end up as an international judge. I saw Whitney and Ferenc all the time at the NGO gallery, and after the meeting they would come, and I was impressed by making this acquaintance, and you could see that this was a man of extraordinary stature. And and it was quite clear that he himself sought the contact with the German head of delegation. When finally the climax came on the 17th of July, he was there, Ferenc was there, and there was this explosion of joy, and we embraced each other. And Whitney, he said, "We must stay in contact. Here you have my card, and we must stay in contact. And you call me Whitney, yeah? You call me Whitney." Anyway, Whitney was sitting on the gallery of honor of the Reichstag, alone. There was nobody there than him. Yeah, wow. And he was sitting up there. I was sitting on the government bench. In front of me, 2 rows in front of me, Chancellor Schröder. ICC ratification law was passed unanimously. The constitutional amendment was passed with 527 yes votes, 2 abstentions, and 1 no vote. And then it said this was it. And when this had happened, the deputy foreign minister, one of my bosses, got up and he said, "Dear colleagues, as you are probably already aware, we have as guest of honor Whitney Harris, the former Nuremberg prosecutor, and may I propose that we all rise in honor of his work, and in honor of the work of Robert Jackson, and in honor of all what Nuremberg has done for the German people." Yeah. And they all rose, and the records of the Bundestag, and I have them in my personal archive, they note standing ovation and a long applause. Afterwards, Whitney and I agreed that in the evening we would celebrate this special day a little bit, and then we had a glass of wine, and he paused a little bit, and then he said, and it was almost as if he would speak to himself, he said that Germany has now become one of the most steadfast authors, the most steadfast supporter of international justice. This is full circle for me, and it's a sign that our legacy lives on. And then we had our toast, and we had a good evening.
And you've been friends ever since?
Ever since, yeah.